Hi, I'm Barry Ross, and I'd like to welcome you to this visual tour of my sculpture, Awakening. But before we take the tour, I think I'd like to tell you a bit about myself and about the red oak tree trunk that the sculpture came from. First, about me, I've been an artist my entire life, and primarily an illustrator, working for advertising agencies and corporations and magazines such as Golf and Flying and Sports Illustrated, and had a pretty nice career going all this time and still continue to do that. I've always been attracted to sculpting, and I can recall sculpting when I was young and at various times during my career. And about 10 years ago or so, that urge to sculpt began to grow and became stronger and almost impossible to ignore. At about the same time, in taking a bike ride around town, I saw in a neighbor's backyard a really huge tree trunk, double tree trunk, lying on its side in the grass and kind of deteriorating and about to be taken to a burn pile. And I asked my neighbor, hey, can I have that? And he looked at me like I was a bit crazy. And he said, sure, it weighs 400 pounds, and I said, don't worry, I'll take it. And I got the local lumberyard to send over a skid loader, and within 1 hour it was sitting in my studio and I was banging away, removing the bark and kind of cleaning it up. At that point I began to notice how beautiful the wood was, the shapes. It was sensual and towering, and it had these openings where branches had been at one time going into the center, and the center itself was hollow. It was just stunning. And as I looked at it and appreciated it, I began to see forms in it, shapes in it, rising figures. And on one side there were bumps that looked like portraits or heads. At the same time that this was happening, I had been going through a period of increased interest in Eastern philosophy, in reincarnation, and meditation. And the sculpture came into my life at a time when I had the desire to even express that feeling more. And so I got started roughing it out and working on it. The wood and I had a relationship. It would tell me where I should go and how I should proceed. If I didn't go the right way, it would come up with something like a huge piece of rot or a flaw. And I'd be forced to change the design. And in every case, those changes helped the design, made it more powerful, made it more sublime. And it continued to grow, and I felt divinely inspired by it. It was an extraordinary feeling of joy and bliss just to be working on it. And I hope that that feeling of joy and bliss is communicated when you get to tour the sculpture with me as your guide. It was finally finished and on display, and I'm very happy with it. It's been a great experience, and I hope in taking this tour that you are able to share in that inspiration with me. So why don't we take the tour? Awakening represents the process of the soul ascending to higher realms. One aspect of this process is the ascension of two soulmates, a man and a woman, who are breaking free of the hold of Maya, the illusion of life. It embraces them like tendrils of smoke, and they emerge and materialize out of that embrace at the same time that they are leaving it. With her hand on the side of his face, she guides him upward. She is quite confident and bold in this process. He is hesitant and unsure, yet protects her in their journey. The folds and flow of the Maya emanates from within the internal, silent space of the sculpture, which also represents the soul. The second aspect of the soul's ascension and awakening is reincarnation. It is represented here by multiple portraits of the incarnations of one soul. They rise upward within the embrace of Maya, from ancient times to contemporary times. Within the lowest point of the empty space is the primordial image of the soul taking on human form and physiology. Each portrait depicts the end of life for that particular incarnation and also invokes the character, personality, and life experience of that person. They include various ages, genders, and races. The topmost portraits begin to dissolve back into the empty space of the soul. And so we return to the awakening journey, guided by divine love. I hope you enjoyed our visual tour of Awakening. I've certainly enjoyed having you join me in seeing it. And I hope that you've been able to share in the inspiration that I felt in doing it. To see more photographs in detail of the sculpture, please visit my website, www.barryrossart.com. Thank you again, and goodbye.